hole.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Wow. A big hole. How many holes do you have? I'm sorry, is that a personal question? I don't have any holes.
Welcome to In Frame Out's Year in Film, where we take stock of 12 months of spectacular cinema and unfortunate rubbish. Having whittled down the 120 plus releases from 2023 we managed to watch into our upcoming end of the year lists, there was still an abundance of fantastic films and toilet-chugging time wasters worth some rumination. So, before we release our best and worst movies of 2023, here are the runners-up, in a video where we celebrate and commiserate the honourable and dishonourable mentions that narrowly missed their respective top 10s. In Frame Out is entirely funded by its amazing viewers. If you want to help us out going forward, check out the link in the description below. Honourable mentions.
You're not here.
We're not there. The car exploded. Come get the girls.
The car exploded?
Parts of the car exploded itself, yes. Come get the girls.
It's really wonderful to see that with Asteroid City, Wes Anderson has remembered that he can make a movie look like an advertisement for an extremely niche chocolatier and instill it with themes, sincerity and subtext. Guarded repression and emotional expression duke it out within meta-digressions and immaculate sets as this stacked ensemble gleefully deadpans and riffs away. And I'm just so happy to once again have another Anderson effort that succeeds beyond the superficial. For an aesthetically driven director who's incomparable at his best and utterly insufferable at his worst, I'm over the moon to report that Asteroid City is firmly in the upper echelons of his fastidious filmography.
You're so beautiful. I know it.
What film upset right-wing culture war YouTube grifters the most this year? No, not the factually bankrupt one made by an allegedly racist, homophobic QAnon zealot that gaslit conservatives into thinking that calling a bad movie bad was somehow the same thing as siding with child traffickers. Nope. Turns out a film with the radical message that women are people and that equality is a good thing is somehow a man-hating weapon of mass woke-struction? Ben Shapiro's dry vaginaed incompetence aside, Barbie is an uproariously funny, sharp as a tack and sweet as can be introduction to sociology for girls and boys alike, that also happens to be a silly pink and blue buzz of brilliant songs and loving sentiment. If you walked out of this thinking it was somehow trying to turn the world against men, then you might be the biggest dingus in the entire universe.
비가 오고 그 비에 어제까지 나는 깨끗이 씻겨내려가.
Hirokazu Koreeda continues his unbroken streak of Daisy growing out of concrete beauty, and once again proves himself as arguably the greatest living director of child actors with Broker, a nuanced, heartrending work about found families, or more accurately, stolen families, that blends road movie whimsy and kitchen sink drama into an odd but always endearing tale of abandonment and acceptance. Fans of Korean cinema will no doubt recognise Song Kang-ho as truly one of the most versatile and extraordinary actors in the world, and Broker is yet further proof of their unimpeachable talent. Though it's worth noting just how great the entire cast is at balancing the tonal nuances of a story that could quite easily have become despicably misguided in lesser hands. But with such a peerless writer-director guiding this ship, Broker is seldom anything less than absolutely wonderful.
وينقلب إلى أهله مسرورا.
بارك الله فيك. أحسنت.
Adam, a devout young man enrolled in the world's most renowned Islamic academy, becomes a coerced accomplice and a pawn of the government, religious authorities, and secret service. Sadly, it proves that regardless of whether it's faith, law, or government, putting your trust in any institution that claims to speak for all whilst bending to the wants of a few corruptible men is a surefire way to eradicate all hope for heaven or earth. A chew-through-your-knuckle tense thriller of political and religious murk, Cairo Conspiracy is a drowning gasp in a sea of human and spiritual decay, and one of the most underseen releases of 2023. John Wick Chapter 4 is just about the most vibe-drunk overdose of masterfully executed executions you could ever hope to see. Top it off with a third act that's basically a remake of The Warriors, and this installment rounds out one of the most front-to-back exhilarating series in all of modern cinema. Oh, and rest in peace to this absolute king.
시부랄년.
미안. 마트 문 닫을 시간이라.
While Kill Boksoon risks giving itself whiplash with all its emphatic nods to John Wick and Kill Bill, it never once feels stale or derivative. Owning its inspirations and building on their foundations in novel and exceedingly exciting ways, this is a katana to the throat of corporate culture. The exploitation of interns, grading workers on performance, the struggle for work-life balance, nepotism and managerial hypocrisy, all of it's laid bare for dissection. Only this autopsy just so happens to feature balletic bouts of visceral combat, practical stunts and assassination set pieces. A Netflix gem that got lost in the shuffle, Kill Boksoon is sharper than a butterfly knife and well worth a stab. Is permanence an aspirational goal or a cruel hoax? It's an existential query that plagues Sandra's every waking moment, conveyed with heart-wrenching authenticity by a flawless Léa Seydoux in One Fine Morning's bittersweet life. Whether she's trying to find a home for her dementia-stricken father, embarking on an affair with a married man, or clinging onto her growing child, Sandra can't escape the fact that everything we know and love will eventually leave. Yet, all of this is carried along as if on a summer's breeze, and with a whatever will be warmth that manages to gently offset some of the inescapable melancholy. One Fine Morning only got bumped out of my top 10 at the last minute, and God, I just adored just about everything about it.
Well, if that's how you treat Lieutenant Colonel, I'd hate to see how you treat a humble physicist.
If I ever meet one, I'll let you know.
Ouch.
While Christopher Nolan would sooner put a gun in his mouth than even attempt to write a three-dimensional woman, he's arguably one of the last bastions of big-budget bluster that attempts to have a brain, and the craftsmanship and construction on display in Oppenheimer truly is a sight for sore eyes. Surprisingly nuanced in its portrait of this beguiling bringer of death, Oppenheimer is an immaculate showcase for everyone in front and behind the lens. Career best turns for Murphy, Downey Jr. and Hartnett, production design and location work worthy of an architectural award, and, well, a very embarrassing sex scene that had half my IMAX screening cringing out loud, are all in service of the brains behind this big bang. And it's hard to deny that Oppenheimer was a boon to the adult-oriented box office at a time when it desperately needed it.
Do you believe in that?
Believe what?
That you and I knew each other in another life.
Soulmates who aren't necessarily meant to be together drift in and out of one another's periphery in past lives. A tale of a childhood crush turned transatlantic game of telephone. Delivered as a feature-length longing glance, this is an impeccably performed elegy for those left waiting, backed by my favourite soundtrack of the year. Oh, and it also features by far the most chill, emotionally stable and understanding husband in cinema. Seriously, this guy deserves a knighthood more than anyone else in the history of the monarchy.
You see me?
Are you Kevin Bacon?
What?
Hollow Man. That was a good one. You liked it. You said you liked it. Okay, now I picked that one. Okay.
A whip-smart satire in Black Dynamite threads, They Cloned Tyrone is a heady, headstrong, and often hilarious hybrid of a film. One that effectively makes good on the, let's face it, extremely weak and nonsensically stupid explanation of the roaming doppelgangers in Jordan Peele's Us. And it does this by stripping out the pretension and dialing up the humanity and hilarity. Part Tuskegee experiment allegory, part blaxploitation riff. I'd hate to give away the treats tucked away amongst the Hollow Man references and Jamie Foxx's best performance ever. So I'll just say that They Cloned Tyrone is a diamond in the algorithmic rough of Netflix originals, and a wonderful surprise. An engrossing, empathetic look at life on a reservation for two young men, War Pony could so easily have been a poverty-porn slog through a marginalised world. But it never is. With echoes of Ratcatcher and Fish Tank, this is a quintessentially American story told with a European social realist sensibility. A conscientious but never precious look at the exploitation of Native Americans, and how capitalism and ghettoization continue to rob them of what little is left. Considering this is the co-directorial debut of Riley Keough, and a first-time performance for almost the entire cast, the guile and grit War Pony carries itself with is downright miraculous. Dishonourable mentions.
I bet you thought you'd seen the last of me.
Just now noticing the baby legs.
They're not baby legs.
A little bit like a Bjorn.
Somewhere out in the MCU ether, a raving lunatic asked, what if we remade John Carter and Attack of the Clones as one movie? And who'da thunk it? Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania answered the call by making one of the ugliest features to ever piss $200 million straight into an electrical socket. The visual equivalent of the stomach acid taste that immediately precedes a sputtering puke. Looking at this hideous monstrosity feels like slowly suffocating beneath a garish sheet of carcinogenic plastic. When the only distraction from your obnoxious unpleasantness is the real-world scumbaggery of your villain, you done goofed.
Hey! 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 Hey!
With jump scares in place of atmosphere, character retcons and yawning cliches that outright betray everything about William Friedkin's masterpiece, and a pace so languorously dull I had to dig my fingernails into my knees just to stay awake, The Exorcist Believer is a grave-robbing waste. A weirdly pro-life and puritanical abomination of cynical corporate consolidation that has wrapped its greasy tendrils around one of the greatest films ever made, which was itself based on one of the most seminal horror texts ever written, and claimed it in the name of commodifiable content.
I didn't actually witness it, the exorcism.
Why not?
It's because I'm not a member of their damn patriarchy.
A stupefyingly dull drag from beginning to end, this feels like it was made by and for the kind of jump scare numbskulls who think the name of the possessed character in The Exorcist was The Exorcist.
I'm gonna maybe be janitor-in-chief, president of the janitors, king of the janitors. Nah, I'm good. I think I'll stick with Frito-Lay. We'll have a real future.
Flamin Hot isn't a film, it's an exercise in capitalistic gaslighting. A Mexicant to Mexican yarn about America the Great Meritocracy, the cool way corporations elevate the disenfranchised, and how persecution is necessary to inspire minorities to greatness. Repackaging industrial waste and selling it under the guise of a feel-good fairy tale isn't anything new, but Flamin Hot may well be the nadir of synergistic brand management masquerading as entertainment. A poorly shot, awkwardly acted product to be guzzled from the trough of our conglomerate overlords as they gently pat our heads and place their bolt guns against our temples.
I understand that these events can be psychologically scarring. You should seek the services of a mental health professional. The Justice League is not very good at that part yet. Trust me.
The Flash looks like someone travelled back in time and replaced the VFX team with a ColecoVision, and the writing staff with a kooky contraption that eats cynicism and shits out nose-picking nostalgia for an audience that couldn't give less of a rat's ass. It isn't a decent take on the Flashpoint story, it's a disingenuous smear of incoherent and irritating nothingness, where its tossed-off plot ends with nothing earned and nothing changed, beyond superficial nods to a past it can't hope to hold a candle to. Michael Keaton's Batman isn't even Batman. He's an exposition dump with a CGI body sculpted to look like Batman. a flash in the pan, a flush of the toilet, and a failure you'll forget before it's even finished. A gender-swapped True Lies that doubles down on the creepiness and ditches the chemistry, coherence, and James Cameron confidence, Ghosted feels like a deep-faked imitation of cinema. An augmented reality uncanny valley cameo bukkake that's really just an experiment to try and ascertain just how much carelessly shoveled CGI slop an audience can have crammed into their eye sockets before they hemorrhage on the offal of all this artistic indifference. Boisterous, bloated, and hideously uninteresting by every conceivable metric, Ghosted isn't the worst film of the year, but it's hard not to feel that after last year's The Grey Man, this is the made-for-streaming blockbuster apocalypse.
Sneaking up on me?
A field agent should be ready for anything.
You were saying?
Heart of Stone follows a noble and good secret agency who have the power to predict the future, access every electronic device on Earth, and manipulate/use any data or information on any system to make the world a better place. So do they erase debt in the developing world? Locate and expose human traffickers operating in an online space maybe? Or perhaps eradicate misinformation and halt cyber attacks on the democratic process? No. They use this godlike power to shoot people and maintain the status quo. Oh well, another year, another dire shitpost of a film in which Gal Gadot stands triumphant as the worst actor currently working in the A-list sphere, if not the worst actress making movies. Having made a career out of staring blankly into the middle distance and doing her best impression of a speaking spell, Heart of Stone is no different.
Yes, Queen! Just whatever the fuck you do not ask this woman about Palestine.
Vic, turn the music back on.
Quantum compute.
Music is bad, man. Music is just waves that are fucking our ears.
Holy shit, it's insert the name of a celebrity who makes a 5-second one-line appearance. I can't believe they're at this house party! Repeat that a few dozen times, make sure you never once make a joke or say anything that could even threaten to elicit a laugh, and you've got yourself a House Party remake. Now, throw in an embarrassing amount of LeBron James bootlicking, he produced this after all, and a pair of utterly despisable lead characters you'll actively want to fail, and not even an admittedly delightful Kid Cudi sequence involving the Illuminati could stop me from wanting to burn this place to the ground.
Homemade Mountain Dew. My own brew. All organic.
No thanks.
Alright. Huh? Alright, fine. More for me.
You know the whole played out and beyond wrote, is this real or is it all in my head plot device, and how it stopped being interesting well over a decade ago? Well, Hypnotic is a movie that never got that memo. This is Inception as plagiarized by a director who in 30 plus years of filmmaking has literally never made a film with any themes or subtextual underpinnings whatsoever. Hypnotic is a first semester attempt at writing something pretentious, only for the student to realise that layered and dynamic narrative structure is hard, so they just start copying homework from the other kids, then wait for the bell to ring so they can run back to their dorm room and jack off into the sleeve of their Letterman jacket.
Mind if I touch your wiener?
What?
Your dog.
Oh. Yeah.
No Hard Feelings is such a nothing film, so hollowed out and unfunny and uncharismatic that I don't really have anything to say beyond this sucks. So here are some more films I loved this year that didn't make it onto the shortlist or the honourable mentions. Infinity Pool, Blackberry, The Night of the 12th, Dream Scenario, The Royal Hotel, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Showing Up, The Killer. Yeah, I really liked all those films, I just ran out of room, so I thought I'd use the No Hard Feelings slot to give them their due. Because Lord help me, this film has absolutely nothing going for it.
In later years, I'm a crone, and somehow you'll still be considered sexy at like 70, no matter how wrinkled and bald you get.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
I'll admit it. It's a good deal.
If you've got a thing for people speaking like malfunctioning robots and just straight up saying out loud every thought, feeling, and expository piece of nonsense that the screenwriters can organically weave into their no-effort narrative, then Your Place or Mine will have you shooting rope after rope of gushy glue down your quivering leg. A deeply unromantic non-comedy where the chemistry-devoid couple pretty much just text and FaceTime until the inevitable closing kiss and cuddle, Your Place or Mine is tragically only the second most shitty piece of footage Ashton Kutcher released this year. And those were our honourable and dishonourable mentions of 2023. Tune in next time for entries 10 through 6 of our best films of the year. A shout out to our Patreon producers Jennifer C, Claire MD, Becky O, Jay Card, Flamin, Jennifer Fetish, and Nicholas LeRevere, and a happy new year for all these amazing folks who support us over on Patreon. Why not let us know your favourite and least favourite films of the year down in the comments, and what movies you're hoping to see in our best and worst movies of 2023. As always, the best way to support the channel is to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, and if you're in a position to do so, consider checking out our Patreon at the link in the description below, where you can sign up to get your name in the credits, access to our Discord, and membership to the In Frame Out Film Club. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, this is In Frame Out.